Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Book Writers Mastermind of the PSASA. I see we're getting some responses, but I want to say hello to everyone and thank you for coming tonight because we have a special guest who I've worked with and know how special she is. We have Yoke van Dam, and she says, I have been called the Kintsugi Queen because of her ability to join, grow, and transform teams and turn them into something quite wonderful. She is passionate about the buying brain and became obsessed with persuasion, sales, and influence ever since she was selling pizza at the early age of 15. Through her company, Y Connect, she empowers individuals, leaders, and teams to find their voice, step into their power, and speak in a way so that people want to listen to them. Today, as a qualified behavioral change coach, she teaches leaders and sales professionals how to get people to buy into their ideas and to take action on them. She is a director of Y Connect, serves on the Speakers Committee for the Professional Speakers Association of South Africa, and she is a professional member of the PSASA. So with us tonight, with her talk, Strategic Selling for Books, I'd like to welcome Yoke van Dam.
Thank you so much, B. It's so lovely to be here. Just spotlighting me for the video's sake. So guys, I'm going to be making this as interactive as I can, and I'm going to be jumping in and out of my PowerPoint. Plus I've put a word with resources. So sometimes I'm actually going to jump into actual websites. But what I'll do for you is I'm going to be giving you my email address, where you can either decide to pop me an email where so that I can send you the slides, or you can drop your email in the chat box and B will give me those and I will send you the slides and the Word document. So you can just literally click through to the resources that I'm talking about. So whichever is best. And what I've also done is I've just included my QR LinkedIn code. So please go connect with me. I'd love to connect with you. It's always nice when we see what's happening in people's lives, because if you follow me on social, you'll also be able to see what else I'm doing. So just in a nutshell, who I am and what I'm about. My company, Y Connect, is all about helping leaders, teams to find their purpose and understand how they fit into the bigger purpose of the business. And I do this because I really care about creating meaningful workspaces. And ultimately, it's about helping get teams in flow. It's helping people build their confidence, cultivating a growth mindset, and helping you to develop your influence. So tonight is going to be a bit about influence as well. And then how I do this is in the following ways: through time management, planning, self-actualization, problem solving, emotional intelligence, motivation, negotiation, and communication. So if you know people that need any of these services, please reach out to me. So I've asked you to go into the chat box and tell us who's your target audience? Have you written a book, or are you planning to write a specific book? And where do you see that book falling? Is it trade? Is it fiction? Is it non-fiction? Is it academic? Is it educational? And also, can you also put into the chat box on me, what type of PR have you done for this book up to now? And I'm just going to go out here so that I can see some of the answers. So I'm seeing Liz wrote, I know she has a photography book. Audience of the book are people who are working for companies, but who would like to transition to becoming a business owner. Okay, so this might actually be a different book she's talking about. It was intended for photographers in the first edition. Okay, great. I have the first edition. Currently editing it for its second edition, and now anyone who's an aspiring entrepreneur. So definitely nonfiction, trade, business book, business orientated, right, Liz? So you're saying potential, let's just say entrepreneurs, people that want to become business owners. Right. Let's just see. I saw Martin Marie wrote about her book that I also read, the 80 Kilos of Shame. I would put that in a category, Martin Marie, of inspirational. It's a memoir. It's your story, almost like an autobiography. It is an autobiography. Then Mandisa was saying her audience is Roman Catholic. Mandisa, do you mind coming off mute and just quickly telling us what this book is about? Mandisi.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Very well.
Yes,
Thanks for being here.
thank you very much for the workshop.
Cool.
It's what I need. It just came at the right time. So the book is a biography. It's about my grandmother. She was a Roman Catholic nun. So it's really about her life story.
About her life story.
So
okay.
It's about, just how she grew up, her missions, and what she's learned. And there were some poems that she wrote about her life.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much. Then Lois also has a book, is a memoir, Women Who Have Faced Trauma. Lois, just quickly tell us what's the title of your book?
I don't know if my speaker's working. Can you hear me?
Yes.
It's called Walking Without Skin, From Fear to Forgiveness to Freedom, Journey of Healing.
So what's interesting is there's already 3 of you guys that have like a memoir, inspirational, both Marie, Lois, and then Mandisa's story is the life story of her grandmother. Okay. Then B has written a book, which is a non-fiction book, a book about humor. B, can you just tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, so it's a humorous motivational book, my first one, and to help mostly women to feel empowered.
To help women feel empowered. Right. So I wanted to, then we have Jonathan that writes about creepy crawlies. Jonathan, I'm not sure if you put it in there, but maybe you could just quickly tell us in what category does that fall? Your target audience, and what type of a book would you say is the genre?
Okay, so I write 2 different kinds of books. I've actually written 13.
Oh my
one
goodness.
kind is about,
okay,
it's
sorry.
about nature conservation, normally to do with venomous creatures. So I kind of own the whole market to do with spiders and scorpions. I speak about values and beliefs, also speak about bites and stings. The other side of what I do is about sustainability. It's about understanding where we are right now, what we need to do to actually make a change, and how can we make that change. Once again, it's all about values and beliefs.
Thank you so much.
I do niche myself very carefully.
Thank you
so
so much.
It isn't about general things. It's about specific things within spiders and scorpions.
Stunning. And Jajeka says that her daughter wrote a book when she was 12 on adventure and magic. She's written a book, a nonfiction on motherhood. So I'm seeing there's a lot of nonfiction, kind of like how to, and then there's a lot of inspirational, and then there's specific, like getting into, like Jonathan, that's really niche in very specific areas, right? Then Alison is in here. I know she has loads of sharing, so I won't call on you, Ali, unless you want to, but her book, Belonging, that she just launched the other day, is also the story about her life, but it's very much inspirational, going deep. So what I want to ask all of you is, what type of PR have you done for your book? So if we're thinking PR, have you had a book launch? Have you been on radio? Have you been on television? Have you been on podcasts? So if anyone wants to just come off mute, be you shaking your head, do you want to like share what type of things have you done up to now PR wise for your book?
Well, I've been crawling along, but I've been on podcasts, and I did have a team that helped me with my self-promotion, and we did something for LinkedIn and Facebook.
So, and is it ongoing? Do you have like an ongoing schedule for that? So that's something that you maybe need to look at. Jonathan, you are the star performer. Quickly tell us, like, what type of PR have you done?
Everything. From standing on street corners. No, I cannot quite like that. Because of what I do, there's an entire kind of medical side of it. So I'm involved with a number of medical organizations. There's an online directory in our country of specialists who can help in case of emergency. And I'm the spider bite and scorpion sting person there.
So you've really established
As
yourself as the thought leader
in lots
expert.
of hospitals. That's right. I'm well known everywhere, and it's not it isn't by chance. It's because of hard work. It's because I really shake my ass everywhere, every opportunity, radio, TV. I'm in newspapers every month. Yeah, all over the place.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. David is saying he's doing book launches every 2 days in August. Sure. Where are you doing these book launches, David?
Hi. Thanks, Yoke. I'm doing them in coffee shops. I'm doing them in bookshops, small bookshops to start with. It'll take a while to get into exclusive books, so I'll do that later, probably after the first 3 months, because I'm doing the 3-month Amazon to bestseller program for the first time. So I need to allow that to happen before I get into other established booksellers. But from a self-publishing point of view, there will be a hardcover, maybe a softcover. I've done 5 books already. And if I just show my background, let me just turn off my video, my background rather. Then you can see, let me just zoom out so you can see everything. Just hold on a second. Okay, so on the top here, those are my books. My first 3 books are becoming all hardcover. I don't know what's going on with my light. I need to get a new light. It's probably load shedding or something. And so the hardcovers are so much nicer than the soft covers, and they've got bookmarks. And I'm reading like 10 or 12 books at a time, and I'm always looking for a bookmark. And when you've got a bookmark already included in the book, it's just fantastic. So all those books, the second book, which is actually over here, book 2, is the non-fiction version of the thriller. So what's happened is I've sold about 200 of these, it's very dry, it's very full of facts, tells you how to fix the planet, but I had this inspiration 3 weeks ago to write a thriller, and it'll be an electrifying read that will shock people into action.
Stunning, stunning. So I'm going to cut you short there. I'm just going to summarize. So Marie is saying so I saw on a TV interview the other day, she's doing radio interviews, she's doing blogs, she's doing podcasts. I know Alison is doing a lot at the moment. She's speaking on Thursday nights at Pretoria. Hey, Ali, you've been on lots of radio interviews. She's written for Mind Valley, spoken at Mind Valley. So what seems to be the trend is if you have a book, it actually opens up doors for media and possibilities. So guys, I'm going to jump into the content. Otherwise, we are never going to get in there. So we will do more engagement. But let me jump into the content. So I wanted to just share with you a little story about one of my favorite books. So one of my favorite books that I recently read was The History of Lost Words. And this book was a fictional book, but it was actually written about the start of the Oxford Dictionary from a female perspective. But what was very interesting in terms of the things that are the truth is at that stage, how they compiled the Oxford Dictionary is they actually put out a call to people in the world to say, can you send us ways of using words in specific sentences? But what the lexicographers had to do from the Oxford Dictionary is they had to cross-check every quote. And originally they would only use quotes that came out of books. And most of these books was mostly just written by men. And why I'm saying this to you is in the past, the access of getting books published was very much like it was with the Oxford Dictionary, where only if the word was used in a book context, not in a magazine, not in the spoken form, not in a slang form, not in normal use, as you would find in the current corpus of the Oxford Dictionary, where you have different variations, all different times of text that's coming in. Now, access to publishing books is so much easier, but what you need to take into consideration is the quality of the work. Because even though you can self-publish, it might not mean that you're actually sitting with an amazing book that people will actually take seriously. So, so where you would find what we're going to be talking about today is what are some really good published authors doing that even if you're not published with a very well-known publisher, things that you could apply on your own and maybe hire the people and get things in place until you could possibly get into a proper publishing house. And I'll speak to you about what I've picked up working for Oxford and Pearson publishers. Another story I wanted to share was from The Alchemist. So I don't know if anyone here has read The Alchemist. That's one of my favorite books that I read in my first year at university. And in The Alchemist, there's a moment where Santiago visits, he's in this town and he's trying to get a job, and the only thing he does is he sees there's this crystal merchant. And it's very interesting because what they're doing is it's on the top of this mountain, and he's just climbed this mountain and he's really tired. And then the next moment he sees there's a little tea shop there. But what he notices is that the shelves where they are selling the crystal is like really dirty. So he goes and he just starts cleaning the display shelves, reorganizing things, making it look better. And the next moment, more and more people come into the store because they're seeing the crystal for the very first time displayed in a beautiful way. And then he suggested to them, why don't they actually serve tea in the crystal glasses? So actually turn it into a restaurant. And what started happening is people would be tired. Let's say Njajeka has now climbed this mountain, and then she's like, oh, let me have a cup of tea. And she sits down with her husband or her daughter and has a cup of tea in this crystal glass. And then she's like, oh, this is beautiful. I want to do this at home as well. So they started selling tea, and their sales in crystal glasses increased as well. And then the competitors woke up and they were like, oh, we also want to serve tea in crystal glasses. And other shops opened up in different places. But what no one had is they didn't have that unique location of being on top of the mountain, which had actually become a tourist attraction, because now people started climbing the mountain in order to drink tea out of a crystal glass to go buy it at the tea shop. So what are the lessons for you as a writer? Can you create unique experiences around your books where you're actually attracting people to a much greater offer than just your book? You're getting them to actually buy into a workshop, a retreat, a conference address, lots of other things where the book is just the crystal glass that they get. It's part of what they're getting. And the other lesson in that is, how can you make sure that your marketing and your display is really beautiful? So Jonathan today said to me that wherever he goes, he'll go and just sell books. So Jonathan, just in 30 seconds, can you tell them what you did during lockdown when people didn't have money and all your speaking gigs were cancelled?
Sure. Okay. So there's lots of cancellations like everyone else. What I realized is there's a lot of charities out there that were seriously battling for money. They would never employ me to speak at any of their meetings because they don't have money. I don't charge a lot, but they couldn't afford that anyway. So I approached them and said, I'll speak for free as long as I can bring some books and people can buy some books. And I chose the right charities that were aligned to the genre of my books. And that did super, super well for me. So, and that was a great way. I wouldn't have made money elsewise, to be honest.
Thank you so much. Thank you so, so much. So books is always a way in which when you are as a speaker marketing yourself and people don't have a speaking fee, you could actually ask them to, if there isn't, for instance, a conference budget, or could you sell books at the back of the room, or could you get free advertising about your books? Like, is there a way to get books into the hands of the people, and can you have a device that they can actually just pay for the books? So I wanted to share a story with you about avos, which is aligned to this as well. So my father was in the agricultural industry, and I just love this story. And he said to me, Yoke, if you have to sell avos to someone, can anyone just here say to me, if you had to buy avos at Woolworths in Jajeka, how much would you pay for an avo at Woolworths?
Well, I'm not really sure. I know that there are two spaces. I've noticed two spaces. One is usually more expensive, so it could be something like I'm just trying to guess now because I bought a few days ago and it's a box of about 30 for 150, but it's directly from a farm. So I
That
normally
is very cheap. That
Yes,
is
it's
very
very,
cheap.
very cheap and it's very good quality avos. So I
Oh,
normally rather scout for those than to buy from Woolworth. But I think it should be like 15 rand or so for one, depending on the
it
size
can
and
even be 75 rand for two. And if you so my dad used to say to me, Yoke, if you buy an avo on the market, so Njijika was just saying that she could get those avos directly from a farmer, and it would be a box of 50 at about 150 rand, versus if you go to Woolworths and you pay, let's say, 150 rand for maybe 4 avos. Okay. And but now what I want to ask you, if you take those same avos and you open a food truck and you're selling gourmet avo sandwiches at a market, at an arts festival, how much would you get for those gourmet Prego sandwiches, just for a quarter or a fifth of an avo that you're using in that, versus if you have to do a private chef experience for someone at their home and you're using avo as an ingredient? So whenever you go and you add value, and especially if there's more of you involved, the pricing can really, really go up. So consider that as part of your book strategy as well. So I'm just going to quickly take you through this. Here are some ways in which you could get more book sales. So in the first regard, it could be getting your book into bookstores in the trade industry. Then there could be academic bookstores. There could be conferences where the conference event coordinator actually includes it as part of the goodie bag, so they actually buy a bulk deal from you. But there could also be special events. So I wanted to share the story with you. This is a photo of me and my sister many, many years ago at University of Pretoria. And this man that's signing the book is Vikas Swarup. So I don't know if any of you watched the film Slumdog Millionaire that won an Oscar. The book that he originally wrote was called Q&A, and they had an author event at University of Pretoria, which they advertised, where his books was also sold and where he signed for it. Obviously, that was a much larger audience. It was at the Museum, at the music theater, a really fancy event. They had various booksellers there selling his books, very high-end target audience. So I wanted to tell you about a website that you need to visit, which I'll include on the resources list, and it's called PASA, the Publishers Association of Southern Africa. This is a list which mostly has almost all of the booksellers, book distributors, and publishers' details from Southern Africa. So I'm sorry, B, I don't have that for Germany. You'll have to research that yourself, but I managed to pull details of a company called Blue Weaver, who is a book distributor. So even if you have published your own book, you could pitch your book to be distributed by them. So when I was working for Oxford Publishers, I would market my textbooks to universities. And what happened was we would literally go to the library and from the librarian get a list of prescribed textbooks. So that was in the educational market. But what's interesting is they could also put books on the recommended list. So there were some books that they recommended you to read. So I want you to consider if your book could potentially, so I'm thinking, Jonathan, your books could most definitely get in either in the educational or academic market on a recommended book list, which could get into academic bookstores, which would, for instance, if you're at University of Pretoria, there's Van Skyke on the campus, there's specific bookstores where they don't just put the academic textbooks in there. There are books of interest, and a lot of your motivational books might be a book that the students would be interested in. And guess what? Their mothers open up accounts at these stores. So if you could identify academic bookstores in your area, so in Jajeka, there are many in Bloemfontein you could look at. And so see where, for instance, Unisa's books are also sold. So that could be Jonathan's actually saying one of his book is a recommended book for all field guide training schools, zoology students. So what happens is if your books gets recommended or if it's actually prescribed, what happens is when I was, for instance, pitching psychology textbooks, nursing textbooks, dentistry, all of that, English dictionaries, what happens is, let's say it's Psychology 101, or Liz, your books, this one specifically could probably go into any of the BCom fields. There's entrepreneurship degrees. There's specific, if you're looking at maybe what the curriculum looks like for the specific levels to see what are the books and could this not be a nice additional one if a student wanted to open a business on the side that could actually help them. So it is a bit of a process, but what I would recommend you to do is go to the library of the university and ask the librarian there, where can you get a list of the prescribed textbooks and recommended books? They give you this list, and from there you can then go and see who are the lecturers that are actually prescribing those textbooks and go and set up meetings with them. And it is a bit of a financial layout, but if I was you, I would have a certain amount of books that you could use as copies that you could give to people to review and see if it can't actually be recommended. But the academic route can be a very lucrative one, and specifically for all of these motivational people, I would even say specifically in the bookstores and the academic bookstores, see if they take on general trade books. Then if you're looking at it from a more of a trade perspective, what you need to look at, so I was marketing academic textbooks, not trade books, but what you need to look at is the trade reps usually go with a sheet, which has the ISBN number, which has a little blurb. What you need to do is get as much PR on your book as possible. Get reviews, testimonials. If you could actually, Marie, you had that television interview. If you could get a written testimonial from the people from the TV channel that you could add to your book sheet that you print out and take with when you go and have a discussion with the book buyer at a bookshop, that would be amazing. If you then have a specific media kit that you could provide them with little links of videos where you're actually talking about the video, and that's what I'll show you what other people are doing. But ultimately, guys, what you want to do is you want to look at who are the people that could get your book into the store. Who is the buyer? Can you go and find some buyers' details, just walk into the bookstores and ask them. I mean, what is the worst thing that can happen, right? Put together the photo of the book, the ISBN, who's the audience, put some reviews, put some links. If you have a few sample chapters that you can give them while you're still editing the book, maybe you could do that. So just bind that or offer to email that to them. But people in general want to have a hard copy. And you could always arrange to go and pick it up from them again after they've reviewed it. So perhaps you could get into a deal where you offer books on consent in terms of if they're taking on books and they only pay you once those books have been sold. So see if there aren't any independent bookstores. I know, for instance, if you go onto that sheet that I'll show you, there's quite a few independent bookstores like Bridge Books, where you can just find independent booksellers that could choose to have your book in the bookstore. If there's a way for you to have a funky way of displaying it. So when we were at Oxford, if we had a book exhibition, what we would do is we would have a tablecloth with our branding on it. We would have banners. We would actually even have stands for the books. So if you can somehow invest in ways for your books to stand out a bit more than just like slapping them on a table. So if there's, where you have a bit of an interesting display, and what you'll find, should you be able to, for instance, get into a place where your books get into a bookstore, if you could provide them with a stand where a few of your books goes in, they can put that little box set of books just like that, and it's going to be displayed better, and your sales will be better because they won't get hidden in the corner. So in the same way, if you're looking at videos, like right now, you're looking at it in landscape, YouTube is always landscape. And if you're looking at a video on Instagram, it's portrait. In the same way with a book, if people only see the spine, it's very little promotional space for you. People don't actually see it. So what you want to do is you want to try to, if your books get into a bookstore, actually turn it around, sneakily ask them if they can't move it up a shelf, or, ask them if they can't for a week, put it on a specific table, try to create. Jonathan wants to say something.
I used to do something terrible with my first book. I used to go into bookstores and take my book, which was hidden in amongst all the other books, and then put them so the cover faces up.
Exactly. Exactly. I'm not going to go into your comment yet, Jonathan, because we're getting to that, but that's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you so much. So guys, I'm hoping I'm giving you some ideas, but I would definitely say invest in branding so that so Jonathan's advice, wherever you speak, have your books there. See if you can't have a tablecloth, if you can't have a banner that actually has your branding on it. See if you can't have a funky way of display. What Alison was doing really nicely is she was actually signing her books. And David, I know you're going to be doing millions of book launches now in August. Say to people that you're going to be there to sign the books. At Alison's launch, which we had at the Maslow, people were standing in queues to wait for her to sign her books. And she ended up having like a little system with post-its and signing the books. So see if you can't have someone there with you that could maybe help with the sales and that while you are doing the writing and engaging with people. If you have a really nice banner that becomes a photo opportunity, see if people can't actually, can't you run some kind of competition or ask them to use certain hashtags to share it to social media at the same time as well. So those are just some ideas. I wanted to just share with you some authors that I think are amazing and what are they doing. So one of my favorites is Brene Brown, and I'll go into her website in a moment, but I'll just show you some screenshots. So what's quite cool with Brene in terms of Media Kit, on her website, it says, click the button below to access the downloadable images. Whenever you go onto a podcast or whatever it might be, can't you have your Media Kit already on the website where you can just say to the people, go to my homepage to that link. You can just send them the link and they can download everything, boom, from there. And then you don't end up like Nikki Bush says with photos of her 19 years old that they keep on using, because these are the approved images. So in here she says, if you're a writer, editor, or producer, or would like to request an interview for a story, podcast, or video of Brene, please submit the form below. You know, and she's saying, due to the volume, we're not unable to respond to all inquiries. So put specifically what you want. This is the photo that I've downloaded of hers. And what are some of the things that is in her media kit? She says it's a PDF downloadable bio. So the bio is written out, but then you can download the PDF. Then she has downloadable photos. She has a form to request interviews. She has a form to request booking opportunities as a speaker, where it actually links with her speaking agents and where people need to put potential dates, budget, everything like that. So I wanted to ask you, if you are a writer and if you're a speaker, who is her website helping? Her website is helping the event planner, because the event planner can immediately go and order bulk books for the conference. Her website is immediately helping the interviewer on media to get all of her things. They don't even have to inquire it with her. Plus, they can inquire for an interview. Who else is the audience? Companies, leaders, teams, HR, or consultants. And how does she help them? And I thought this was very, very interesting. She helps them to show them how they can make use of a book. So she has extra resources on her website. One of the resources is a read-along guide. So she says, you're welcome to download this workbook. It's okay to use it in your company and in your team if everyone has the book. It's not okay to sell it. So she very clearly sets the boundaries around how it can be used. But what's interesting, she now takes her entire book data lead and breaks it down so teams can easily implement it. But then she has also licensed it, where it says, if you want a licensed data lead facilitator, you know, book one there. And then she has hubs. So she's actually broken all of her books into different content areas. She had podcasts linked to it, so you can buy books, you can book her. But then what she also does is she even answers, I think it's the next slide. She has bulk buy options. I wanted to show you this. So if you want to buy 25 to 99, you can get a 30% discount. 100 to 249, you can get a 32% discount. So immediately she has set it up for bulk purchases. So in the same way, if you want bulk purchases, you need to enable it. What she also has, what I thought was really interesting. So, so Jonathan and David, with your millions of books, this could be a good one for you. She says, which book should I start reading first? Because she had so many people asking her, like, what book do I read for what? So she's actually answered the question, you know, if you're struggling with this, start with this book. If you are doing this, read this, then this, then this. So she's actually like guiding you. And in the same way, Alison, with your book that's out, ask yourself, what are the kind of problems or desires people could be going through? They would say, are you going, you know, are you feeling like this and this? Have you gone through this and this? Then this book is for you. Like put a few questions like that, where a person could go like, this is me. I need this book. You get what I mean? So actually answer the question in terms of placing that book, in terms of who that specific audience is. And then I think the thing that is the most phenomenal of hers, which is the smartest thing, is she has quotes from a book that you could download for social media, which I have personally even used on my business social media. So you see there, daring leaders who live into their values are never silent about hard things. So can you create social media posts that people could download with your branding that's beautifully designed, that can immediately, they can share onto their social media, which gives marketing to your book and your name. And then what she also does, and I think, Jonathan, for you, this could also be maybe it's something you're doing anyway, is um, posters. So she has downloadable posters for schools, NGOs. So many of you ladies have written. So Marie, you've got the inspirational 80 kilos. There's the memoir that's coming. Like, what kind of inspirational quotes are there that you could pen and actually beautifully design that people would want to share? I'm sure there's millions of those. That doesn't just have to end up being your own social media, but you put it as a resource, a free resource that people can download. And that then leads to people saying, like, who's this Alison? Maybe I need to get her as a speaker. Oh, she has a book. Oh, amazing. Let's interview her for radio. So it all kind of like feeds into each other. So those are just some of the ideas that I've thought of Brene Brown, and later on I'll go to her actual website. Let me just show you the others. Another person that I really love is Patrick Lencioni. So I'm a very, very big fan of Patrick Lencioni, and he just keeps on bringing out millions of books. But the book of his that I really loved was 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. His audiences, consultants, leaders, and teams. How does he help them? He guides them on how to implement the work through videos, assessments, coaching, or training programs, and they get him to speak. Just give So here is just a screenshot from his website. You can see it looks like the books are standing up. It's actually a scrolling screen with the different books. You can go from the one to the next. Here are some more screenshots. So team assessments, he actually has it on a screen that it can be used specifically. There are downloadable things that you can use. So what's been really nice for me as a consultant, he's identified that his audiences are either leaders of companies, but it could also be consultants like Brene Brown has identified. And what he does is he gives you a downloadable workbook that you can then use when you're using his book to train people or consult with people. So if you're thinking on the inspirational side, so we're thinking again, Alison, Lois, Marie, on your side, for instance, besides there could be a workbook, but could there be maybe something designed for a reading group or a book club? Questions that you could put together for book club discussion. So if you're thinking like Reese Witherspoon's book club, if you get into places in South Africa, there's a club called Leeskring. So think of that type of thing. What he also does, I think this is phenomenal, is he actually gives you a plan of implementation for 12 months. What are all of the things that need to be put in place by a company using his book or his material or his training? So like he makes it seriously easy for people, and he thinks further about how this book can be used. So I'm just going to jump on Marie again. I wanted to give you an idea. So I know there's resources at the end of your book where you're linking to, I think, your whalers group, your running group, your Pilates instructor, but try to think for yourself. I know the whole book isn't about weight loss, it's more about the emotional side, but could there not be specific programs people could sign on for, or some handouts or some giveaways with some ideas of a healthy meal plan, or some recipes people could download, because a lot of people that would read the book would probably be struggling with their weight. So what could be some kind of thing that could help people, and that would lead them to also want to read your book specifically. Then there's another guy called Michael Bangasanya, and I thought this was quite interesting. So when you go onto their websites, and I'll go to that in a moment, is you'll see that they actually have, on Amazon, they have YouTube videos, and I'll show you that in a moment. So I just loved Michael Bangasanya's on his Amazon that there's actually a cartoon there, and he has a very relaxed video that I'll show to you, but I can already see my time is very limited. Douglas Kruger is the South African case study that has moved to Jersey. So I wanted to just share with you what Douglas does exceptionally well. So he started off self-publishing. He had about 2 self-published books. One of the books he then got sponsored by a corporate company to actually pay for the distribution. So he said to them, if you invest this amount, then your logo can be on the cover and you can write the foreword of the book. So they, in a way, actually funded the publishing of the book and the distribution of the book. Then later on, he got into Penguin Publishers. I don't know if he's got about 8 to 10 different books published by Penguin. And then he actually moved over from the nonfiction genre over to storytelling, writing his first novel. But what I thought was quite interesting, what I saw is this is his personal Facebook cover, and it advertises his book. So how can you use any kind of market space available to you to market your things? And this is done in a very classy way. I think it's a photo of him and his son, but the book is about a boy that never was. So what Douglas does is he has a lot of YouTube channels. He makes sure that he always records an audiobook as well, and he makes videos about the books. But I wanted to just show you this. So I literally sent him a message the other day. I had finally bought his book and I sent him a message, oh, by the way, I'm reading your book. And he immediately responded and he asked me if I wouldn't mind writing him a review with the link of Amazon. And look how humble he is. Hi, Yoke. Hope you had a stellar weekend. May I please impose upon you to add a rating to my novel? Feel free to be totally honest. The sheer number of reviews makes a big difference. This is the page. If you scroll down a letter, there's a section that says review this product. So both him and Michael Bangasanya ask for reviews. When I was on Michael Bangasanya's Amazon, one of the people wrote a review and said, I simply wrote a review because Michael Bangasanya did such a nice little video asking us to write reviews or what it means to authors. I just had to do it. So can you be creative and constantly always be reaching out to people to rewrite reviews for you, but get it on the proper pages? So what happened is, because I never buy books over Amazon, Amazon wouldn't allow me to write a review. But I think I didn't actually include it in here. Oh, there's another one that Douglas wrote in 2020. Would you like an interview? He's actually asking for people to give him media interviews and say, my book is coming out. If you have a podcast, if you have a television or a radio station, I'm available. Here's my email address. So he was putting out a call for interviews. So be proactive. Douglas is like ruthless with him contacting media houses and actually like demanding to be interviewed. So don't wait for people to ask you. Offer your services to them. Their audiences will just be so grateful. So get listed as an author on Amazon, promote your book. Here are some of the places. So what I did for Douglas is I wrote a review on Goodreads. So on Goodreads, you can actually register to be an author. You can put videos there in the same way you could put videos on Amazon. You could become a vendor on Take-A-Lot, or otherwise you could actually sell your books on your own website using Payfast. And I know some of you guys are selling it and just doing the courier thing. There's various ways. So I just wanted to show you, here's Douglas's Goodreads. So there are specific videos in here that he's written about what the books are, what they're about. Here is his Amazon, where you can see all of the different books. And I want to show you the Amazon of Nikki Bush. What was interesting for me here is just 3 days before this, there was blogs linked on her Amazon. So can you write blogs on your own website and link it to your Amazon and your various accounts so that current things actually show up? So what Nikki does very well, she does a lot of videos. She has a YouTube channel. She writes like a mad woman. She writes blogs, she writes newsletters, she does media interviews. So she is constantly putting material out there. And then my last person is Alan Weiss, who's the $1 million consultant. I think he's now written about 66 books. And Alan, oh no, I don't know what says parenting experts. Sorry about that. What I'll just put it up in a sec, but I'm just gonna say to you what he does. Alan does every single day, he does a minute with Alan, which is a little video that goes onto his LinkedIn. I watch it every single day. On daily, he has a team that repurposes things from his books or whatever that goes on Twitter. Daily, there's a short little post on LinkedIn from him. Then he does on his email list, he does offers. And what I found to be the most amazing thing that he did is the following. So when his new book was coming out, is he did pre-sales. And he said, my book is coming out, the Consulting Bible, by this and this date. If you pre-order the book, you can get it at this price. But then there was this whole sales page. Ali, I think I still sent that to you. I don't know if you remember, but what he did in there was he would say, if you buy one book, it's this price. If you buy a book for a friend, you immediately, for both of you, get access to this webinar for free. If you buy 50 books, you get access to a 30-minute keynote to the company. If you buy 500 books, you get a half-day workshop. He had this whole thing like upsell, where he was linking bulk sales to his speaking. And then what happened just a week ago, I found the details about that restream, and I was like, oh my goodness, I've completely forgotten about it. It was in the middle of the night because it was in America, couldn't do it. But let me see if it's still available. And I listened to it. It was 2 hours of solid gold. I made notes like a crazy person. I've already used it in my coaching with clients, and it was so worthwhile. And I hadn't even bought the book. Leanne Hughes was glad that I'd referred clients to her. She wanted to give me money back, and I was like, no, I don't want, you deserve all of that work. And she was like, well, come on this webinar with Alan Weiss. And that's what I wanted to ask you, is your content and people engaging with you not actually so valuable that people would want to give that as a gift to someone else? So you not only get to sell multiple books, gift things to people, but they could actually get the opportunity to get more of you as a speaker. And I think that is the beauty of it. And in that webinar, he had also sold tickets to it. So he was making multiple revenue streams. He had early birds for the webinar paid. Then there was the, if you'd bought books, then there was the very close to the date high price. He ended up actually making so much money through it all. So I'm going to give you that list of those websites. Maybe I can actually just go into one of those. I just really want to show you Michael Bangai's video. Any comments about what I've said so far? Because we're almost reaching the end. Any of those that that you would like to use for yourself? You're welcome to just come off mute.
Yeah, this is Njideka. Good evening, everyone. I'm just excited to hear all these tips on how to really just putting yourself out there. I say in my own case, my child was quite overwhelmed by what it meant to be an author. So it really made me not to do anything further because I didn't want her to feel burdened by the gift. She didn't know she had to go to places, to go to interviews and all that. I felt that I needed to kind of just allow her to take a breather. So, but for me, just working on my first book now, I'm just excited about the different ideas, even though some of the ideas will work more for somebody who's busy doing a lot of things already. But I know that that thing of being creative on how I display it at any place that I'm going to launch it, or the thing about blogging or talking about it in different sites, connecting blogs to Amazon, and then trying to be specific about the problems the book will solve. and having people know one way or the other what to expect in the book, why the book is valuable. It's just like the value proposition thing. So I'm excited by the value I'm already getting. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing, Jajeka. I want to quickly show you, this is Michael Bangasanya. So Leanne Hughes is a big fan of his, and I never knew why. So people from different countries have different fan groups, and she was always going on, and she's interviewed him many times, and every time a new book comes out, she has it, she does a video about it. So what's nice with Michael Bangasanya is he has a fan club of influencers that without him paying for it or anything, these people are promoting in a totally beautiful way his work on his behalf. And his book that did really, really well was The Coaching Habit. And that book sold many, many copies. But what I wanted to show you is if you scroll down, it says, "My name is Michael. I can hop. Do you want to see me hop?" That's how I introduced myself to strangers at the supermarket when I was 3. Not much has changed. Here's the formal bio, best bits at the end. So he's like very humorous in his approaches, and there's obviously like his whole full thing. But now there's little videos here. Oh no, which was the one? You can see there's a lot of videos. I just want to show you this formal one, and then I hope you're going to be able to hear the sound. Can you hear the sound? Cute, hey? So there's obviously like high level videos like that, but he also has speaking videos or just like
I
this.
am Michael Bangasanya. I am the author of The Coaching Habit and The Advice Trap. And if you're watching this video, you're thinking to yourself, all right, well, who is this dude? And what about these books that have sold so many copies? How have they been so popular? How have they been so successful? Well, look, I'm pretty surprised and pretty delighted by the fact that they've sold hundreds and hundreds of thousands of copies. And I'll tell you, the reason I've heard from other people, perhaps like you, who've read the books, is the reason they like them is they're super practical. This is about, let me give you tools to help you be more coach-like, to be more curious, to tame your advice monster. They're short. I wrote the shortest book I could, so there's no fluff, there's no filler, there's none of that kind of gumph that you sometimes find in other books. And finally, they're funny. Like, I try and actually have a bit of a sense of humor about all of this and make that an enjoyable, practical read. So thanks for checking out the page, thanks for checking out the books, thanks for any support and encouragement you've given me over the years.
So I hope I've given you some ideas of things that you can do. We don't have time to get into the 4 types of buyers, but I will send that to you if you drop your email address with the slides, with the Word doc, with all of the resources and the links. So what I did was the specific things that I wanted you to show. I've got all the links in a Word document that I'll send to you, so you can go and browse all of those people's websites and see it for yourself. And I know you might not have the budgets that these people have, but start with what you have. And if Michael Bangasanya could do such a casual video walking through the streets, why can't you do a short little video talking about your book and post it on your Amazon site, and maybe do a different video every month and link your blogs to it and start using it in various ways and formats? So I will definitely send those resources through to you. I just want to share my contact details as well. If you want a discovery call with me to chat about a way that I could help you, you're welcome to do that. There's my email address. And thank you so much, B, for the opportunity. I think you guys are doing incredible work, and I'm excited to hear what you can implement out of today.
Wow, amazing. So drop Yoka an email, I'm sure, here, or if you need me, I can also connect you. Let's see. So
I think what might help me is afterwards to just download the chat and send that to me, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to copy this, but that's anything. Yeah. Any comments or questions before we wrap up?
Hi there, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
I'm good, thank you. For those who are in South Africa, either Johannesburg or Pretoria, I'm actually also a radio host, and I will be glad to interview anyone who wants an opportunity.
Wow.
Yes.
Do you want to drop your email address so that they can send you their bios and contact details, maybe?
Oh, I'll drop it again. My name is Tolu. I'll drop it right now in the comments again, okay?
What is your show about, Tulu? Just so that, because that's what you guys need to consider, like who's the audience, is your book a fit to that audience in that slot? Can you just quickly tell us that?
Okay, the name of my show, it's called Soul Cafe, okay? So we're basically dealing with the youth, and we're dealing with social ills, and we are also educating them. We also letting them to voice out whatever it is that they have a problem about, so that we may give them a solution. So it's very broad, it's very, very broad. So if I can see your book titles, I'll be able to make sure that your interview, it's more informative, more than any other thing. If it does not touch on anything that speaks straight to young people and the problems that they face. So it can be from the informing side of things, and it can be from the empowering side of things, because they always need like information. And just by the way, it is The radio station, it is the second radio station for DJ's Boo, if you know him.
Okay, I'm looking and I don't see it. Is it Tulu or how do you? Oh, it's new. Okay. No, I'm not seeing it.
Okay, I'll type it again. Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, well, while Tulu does that, I'd like to say thank you from the bottom of my heart to Yoka. The value we've received today, the value I've received was tremendous for something that you did, voluntarily. So I'm very thankful for that. I'd like to say to everyone that next month, July, I'll be in the US on vacation. So the book writers will not meet unless one of you contact me on WhatsApp and let me know that you would like to run the show in July. I'm more than happy to let someone do that if they want to. Otherwise, we will not have a show in July. Okay, thank you to Lou for putting that in the email. Thank you, Yo. And with that, I'd like to say we will be meeting in August, and we have some great speakers lined up, so I can't wait to share that with you, and I will do that. We have Yoka's great takeaways as well today, which I'll make sure that everyone gets a hold of. So thank you all for participating. And I'd like to say, have a great evening and we'll see one another in August.
Thank you so much, B. It was lovely. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Have a good evening. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
It was great. Thanks very much.
Thank you all for coming.
I'm so sorry I was long. I'm so sorry I was a bit long.
I think 5 minutes is okay. I think we can handle that.
Cool.
Oh, let me stop the recording. Bye. Thank you. Let's see.